Goliath's Nest. Chapter 1. Warning Shots in Orbit. POV, Mara Kwon, Goliath Tactical Officer. The siren's keening cut through the stale, recycled air of the orbital defense platform. Red warning lights pulsed along the bulkhead, reflecting off the sleek control consoles. Mara Kwon's gloved fingers hovered above the targeting interface as the incoming telemetry scrolled across her display, an unannounced vessel approaching from the dark side of Moon Beta's orbit. Her breath hitched. She had trained for moments like this, but nothing could dull the sudden spike of adrenaline when reality arrived. "Identify the signature," she ordered, voice steady despite her racing pulse. The sensor officer, a wiry engineer named Rin, tapped commands rapidly. Primary scans show a small Scout-class starliner, no transponder, no scheduled flight plan in Unity records. Approaching at sublight vector, but trajectory converges on our defensive perimeter. Likely intentional. Mara's jaw tightened. Around her, crew members muted side conversations, posture stiffening as they awaited orders. She recalled Julius Morgan's words from weeks earlier, delivered in the command briefing: "We cannot appear weak, but we must avoid provoking a full-scale conflict." She had agreed then, believing in measured defense. Now, measured defense meant preparing to fire. A hiss of pneumatic release accompanied the charging of the pulse arrays. These were designed for non-lethal interdiction, a warning shot intended to disable engines or communications without exploding holes. Yet Mara's memory warned her, even non-lethal pulses in an unfamiliar electromagnetic environment could have unforeseen effects. Her console chimed. Interference detected, Planet X's radiation field causing erratic energy dispersion. Pulse calibration unstable. She frowned. She had seen anomalies near Planet X before, subtle gravitational fluctuations, faint subspace echoes, but never so close. Now, those quirks threatened to turn a warning shot into a catastrophe. She glanced at Ren. He gave a terse nod. "We can attempt adjustment, but risk misfire." Mara exhaled. The platform vibrated as defensive systems hummed under strain. If they held fire, the Scout might slip past and probe their base. If they fired, they might inflict real damage. Memories flickered unbidden. Her first deployment under Julius's command, months ago. She had been a freelance pilot in the belt, scraping by after her family's habitat collapsed in a mining accident. Julius's corporation had intervened, offering passage and a role as a pilot in exchange for loyalty. She remembered the gratitude and the sense of purpose, her debts repaid, a new mission: defend what Goliath was building on Planet X. Now, loyalty weighed heavily as she faced the choice: obey orders or hold back. Authorize adjusted pulse, she decided, voice quiet but resolute. Aim for engine array, minimal energy output. She keyed in the modified coordinates. The targeting reticule flickered as the system compensated for interference. Seconds passed in tense silence before the command: firing in 3, 2, 1. A jagged beam of directed energy lanced outward from the defense platform. Mara watched the readouts. Dispersion increased beyond prediction. The beam diffused unpredictably, arcing wide, grazing the Scout's hull. An explosion bloomed along its flank. "No. Impact in the life support section." Ren's voice was tight. "Multiple casualties detected. Hull breach imminent." Mara's stomach clenched. The Scout shuddered, then spun away, systems failing. Emergency beacons blinked as life pods ejected. She felt a hollow ache. The intent was non-lethal, but here were real deaths. She replayed the decision in her mind, wondering if the interference made miscalibration inevitable, or if someone had tampered with the targeting algorithms, a suspicion that rippled through her. The room's atmosphere grew heavy, eyes turned to her. As a tactical officer, she bore responsibility. A new alert flashed: incoming comm request from Unity flagship, Resolute. Priority, immediate. Mara hesitated. Contacting Unity now might invite retaliation. Ignoring them risked leaving survivors stranded. She recalled Julius's counsel: "We defend our home, but do not become executioners." Were these crew survivors or agents probing for weakness? Uncertain. She keyed the communication console. Open channel. Static cleared, and then Arden's voice, measured, calm but edged with tension. "This is Commander Arden of Unity Flagship Resolute. You have engaged one of our scout vessels. Identify yourself and state intent, or we will consider further approaches hostile. Respond immediately." Mara's heart pounded. She tapped her comm panel. "This is Goliath Orbital Defense Platform Beta." The vessel approached without identification. "We issued a warning pulse, which, due to local interference, resulted in hull damage. We are prepared to offer assistance to any survivors, pending verification of peaceful intent." She watched Arden's response unfold on the display, a silent pause, then, "Understood. We will attempt to relay rescue protocols. Stand by." Mara exhaled a breath she did not know she held. The immediate crisis abated, but the weight settled in her chest, lives lost, an uneasy truce forming in real time. She allowed herself a moment to recall another memory, early in the Goliath campaign, when she first met Julius aboard a battered freighter. He had spoken of exploration, of building a new future. She had believed then in nobler aims. Now, defending this new world carried fraught consequences. She tapped the console to deploy an automated rescue pod toward the drifting life pods, instructing caution, scan for survivors, verify identities before full retrieval. The crew moved efficiently, masking their dread with professionalism. Yet Mara knew none would forget this moment. The warning shot had become lethal. POV, Commander Arden, Unity Investigator. Arden stared at the holographic display in the Resolute's command center. The feed from Goliath's defense platform flickered with static, then cleared to show the aftermath, a damaged scout, escape pods drifting against the starfield. He pressed a hand to his temple, recalling the hours spent tracking anomalies in data logs months earlier, supply diversions, unusual communications between corporate fronts, whispers of a secret expedition beyond Kuiper. He had flagged concerns to superiors, but bureaucracy moved slowly. Now, evidence of a clandestine base on Planet X had sharpened his focus. He sensed the fuse had been lit long ago. He tapped his comm panel, maintain rescue coordination channel. Notify medical teams to stand by for potential survivors. Send data link to forensics, analyze hull fragment signatures for origin and mission profile. He gestured to his operations officer. Prepare intercept protocols in case of further unauthorized departures. Arden's mind flickered back to earlier days as a cadet on Earth, eager to serve Unity's mission of peaceful expansion, fascinated by interplanetary law, convinced that a single government could safeguard humanity. He had believed in rational discourse, that transparency and protocols would prevent conflict. Yet here he was, engaged in a tense standoff above a world few even believed existed. An aide informed him, preliminary sensor data shows the scout was unarmed, civilian class. We have fragments of personal logs indicating a research mission, no overt weapons manifest. But the defense pulse was unannounced, so they assumed hostility. Arden exhaled slowly. Send that to council. Emphasize ambiguity. They may not be outright aggressors, but unauthorized presence in that orbit is a breach of jurisdiction. He toggled through orbital charts, Moon Beta's defense installations, Planet X's hazy gravitational anomalies interfering with comm relays. This environment complicated both detection and negotiation. He considered escalating demands, ordering Goliath platform to stand down or face blockade, but hesitated. A single misstep risked igniting war. He remembered the Unity High Council's directive, avoid bloodshed if possible, but enforce sovereignty. He felt the pressure, balancing caution with resolve. Arden's display pinged with an encrypted incoming message flagged as high priority, an analyst's note quoting intercepted chatter among Goliath officers. Our systems misfired, blame interference, but ensure logs scrubbed. The subtext was clear, concern about culpability. Arden frowned, evidence of intentional obfuscation. He stored the note in a secure file, possible attempt to conceal error or sabotage. Add to investigation. He leaned back. We'll continue rescue assistance to maintain goodwill, but tighten scrutiny. Issue a formal request. Goliath must provide full system logs for review. Gift of cooperation may avert escalation, but we cannot show weakness. His reflection turned inward. Was Unity's insistence on logs a genuine step toward transparency or a pretext for intervention? He did not yet know, but he resolved to uncover the truth. POV, Mara Kwon continued. The rescue pod drifted silently toward the escape pods. Mara watched sensor readings. 2 life pods with survivors detected alive, but in critical condition. She felt the familiar rush of responsibility. Command decisions carried real human lives. She ordered medical drones to follow and stabilize survivors before retrieval. All the while, she questioned, were these genuine researchers or spies sent to provoke an incident? Unity's shepherding of their fate would send a message, mercy tempered by vigilance. Her console chimed. Unidentified vessel detected emerging from deep orbit. Trajectory vector intersects our location in minutes. Mara's eyes widened. This was unexpected. No prior signature of a third ship. She cross-checked orbital logs. Nothing registered. She called across the deck. All stations, prepare for unidentified approach. Display full power on sensors. Ready secondary defense arrays. Her voice betrayed a hint of urgency beyond the earlier scout encounter. Rin scrolled through sensor matrix. Signature minimal, low emissions, possibly using Planet X's interference to mask approach. Could be a remnant of an expedition vessel or an entirely separate actor. Hard to classify. Mara's mind raced. If another ship arrives, Unity might see it as reinforcement. Goliath might assume reinforcement from Unity or rogue actors. The fragile truce was unsteady. She leaned back, recalling a fragment of conversation months ago in command briefing. Julius had warned, Planet X's anomalies can mask or distort sensor signatures. Trust but verify. Now those anomalies birthed ambiguity. She tapped to send a secure alert to Julius. New vessel emerging from deep orbit. Cannot identify, request guidance. She paused, conscious that any direct message risked interception by Unity or internal dissenters. Yet delaying risked unpreparedness. She allowed herself a brief memory. The first time she saw Planet X, a distant silhouette on sensors, a veiled giant lurking beyond Kuiper. The wonder had been intoxicating then. Now, that wonder had given way to this tension, defending a nest whose boundaries blurred between sanctuary and provocation. POV, Commander Arden continued. Arden's console buzzed. Telemetry indicated not only the scout loss, but now a third contact near Planet X orbit. He accessed shared sensor nets, the unidentified vessel Mara reported. He overlaid gravitational anomaly maps. The vessel followed an unusual trajectory, perhaps exploiting subspace distortions around Planet X to approach undetected. He felt the old idealist stir. The unknown vessel could hold key intelligence or a threat. Protocol dictated caution. He convened a rapid advisory, possible stealth approach exploiting local anomalies. Recommend dispatch of unmanned drones for closer inspection before committing crewed ships. Also, open encrypted comm channel to Goliath, alert them to unidentified approach, and propose joint identification mission to avoid miscalculation. He tapped out the message, measured tone, offering cooperation. He reflected on how this standoff had escalated. A single warning shot misfired, lives lost, now more unknowns. Each step risked sliding from caution into open conflict. He hoped to manage this by transparency, yet he knew Goliath might interpret it as intrusion. Still, he had to try. He sent the comm, then prepared his officers, stand by for further instructions, but prioritize avoiding direct confrontation. If possible, we must learn what that vessel is before it triggers another incident. Arden leaned back, recalling his early Unity oath, to uphold peace through reason. In the swirling uncertainties, he resolved to hold to that oath even as political currents pulled him toward harsher measures. He would need all his skills, investigation, diplomacy, and, if forced, command decisions in a crisis. POV, Mara Kwon continued. Mara's secure calm to Julius awaited his response, but she could not remain idle. She ordered the defense platform's sensor arrays to lock on the unidentified approach vector, instructing predictive modeling to anticipate its path through subspace distortions. Crew exchanged anxious glances. This was territory none had practiced for, operating under the unpredictable influence of Planet X's fields. In a quieter moment, she allowed another memory, Julius's first briefing on the anomalies, how he spoke of the planet's subspace quirks as both boon and hazard. She recalled his fervent belief that discovering Planet X would usher in new resources and discoveries for all humanity. That idealism had inspired her loyalty. Yet now she wondered whether human ambition had outpaced prudent caution. Her console beeped. Julius's reply, encrypted but clear in content, proceed with caution. Attempt to hail the vessel. If hostile or unknown purpose, prioritize platform safety. Preserve survivors from scout if possible. Report all data. Simple directives but heavy in implication. Every piece of data could be weaponized by either side. She keyed the comm, attempting hailing signal. She broadcast a standard identification code, repeated across multiple frequencies to account for interference. Moments later, static, no response. The vessel drew closer, silent as a ghost. Mara consulted Run. Prepare non-lethal tractor beam? Attempt to slow or redirect. Run hesitated. Possibly. But field distortions may disrupt beam integrity. Could entangle our own systems. Mara weighed the risks. Capturing the vessel might yield answers, but failure could disable their platform. She decided on a compromise. Ready tractor beam, but wait for confirmation. First, project diagnostic ping to elicit any automated response. Probe for hull signature, life signs. As the unidentified ship slipped into clearer range, Mara felt the familiar tension of a sentinel at the threshold. The fate of many hung on her choices. She took a steadying breath and pressed the command, send diagnostic ping. POV, Commander Arden, continued. Arden's comm console lit up with Mara's hailing attempt. Unity flagship receiving data that Goliath was also attempting contact. He allowed himself cautious relief, both sides seeking information first. He directed sensor drones, launch unmanned probe to intercept diagnostic ping and relay findings. Coordinate with Goliath, share sensor data in real time to avoid misreads. Emphasize joint safety protocol. He composed a message to Mara, Unity probes en route to assist identification. Suggest synchronized diagnostics handshake. Please stand by. He sent it, aware each transmission risked misinterpretation if hardliners intercepted or manipulated logs. He paused, reflecting. The unknown vessel might be a Goliath envoy, a Unity rogue element, or an entirely independent actor exploiting Planet X's anomalies. The tapestry of motivations, personal, political, ideological, complicated every decision. He recalled his investigations into supply diversions, hints that factions on both sides prepared for conflict. Now, a single unknown ship could ignite or defuse tensions. He instructed his officers to monitor comm channels for any sign of tampering. We cannot assume messages remain secure. Use encrypted quantum links. If integrity is compromised, fall back to neutral code phrase protocol. He tapped his data pad, initiate failsafes. As the probe launched, Arden's mind drifted to memories of earlier Unity expeditions, times when first contact with unknown signals had kindled hope. Could this unknown vessel herald breakthrough or doom? He resolved, remain vigilant, open to diplomacy, but ready for defense. POV, Mara Kwon continued. Sensor readouts blinked. The diagnostic ping returned fragmented echoes. The vessel's hull signature was unfamiliar, composite materials not matching known Unity or Goliath designs. Life sign scans inconclusive, either masked or using alien technology. Mara's stomach nodded. This was no simple recon mission. She sent the data to Julius, unknown vessel's hull materials unidentified. No immediate life sign response. Possible cloaking or unaffiliated origin. Unity probes en route. She awaited guidance. In the silence, she felt the weight of isolation, here on the edge of a hidden world, defending against threats both known and unknown. She convened a quick advisory with senior officers. Mara spoke plainly. We proceed per protocol, maintain defensive posture, but avoid firing unless clearly hostile. Coordinate with Unity probes, share data. But prepare contingency. If this vessel intends harm, we must protect the nest at all costs. One officer ventured, could it be precursor relic vessel? Some ancient technology awakened. Mara dismissed speculation publicly, but made a mental note. Dr. Vance's warnings about ancient systems remained in her thoughts. The frontier they inhabited was rife with mysteries beyond human design. As sensors tracked the vessel's approach, Mara felt the resonance of the platform's alarms echo in her chest. She steadied herself. Whatever lay ahead, she would face it as she had before, anchored by duty and the complex legacy of loyalty to Julius's vision. POV, Commander Arden, concluding. A status update arrived. Unity probe approaching the unidentified vessel's trajectory, but readings remained uncertain. Arden convened a closed briefing with Unity senior officers. We face an unknown actor near Planet X. Our best path is coordinated identification with Goliath, but we remain on alert. Orders from High Council: avoid unnecessary bloodshed, but defend Unity citizens if threatened. We must also consider possibility this is precursor technology responding to disturbances in the field. He paused, recalling Dr. Vance's intermittent reports. Subspace anomalies around Planet X had grown erratic. Perhaps these anomalies triggered a dormant precursor artifact, an unknown vessel awakening. If so, both Unity and Goliath would need to contend with something beyond human politics. He tapped his comm. Maintain open channel with Goliath. Monitor probe data. Prepare medical teams in case of survivors. Notify High Council liaison. Situation evolving rapidly. He stared at the star-speckled void beyond the viewport, wondering how many more layers lay hidden in this conflict: human ambitions, ancient legacies, alien unknowns. As the probe closed in, Arden felt the familiar tension of the cusp between hope and peril. In that moment, he resolved to hold fast to reason and empathy, even as he braced for the unpredictable. The next contact could reshape everything, for Goliath's nest, for Unity, and perhaps for all who dared seek the mysteries beyond. Across tens of thousands of kilometers, Mara's platform and Arden's flagship watched as the unmanned probe closed toward the unidentified vessel. Neither side could predict what awaited: ally, adversary, or something stranger. In the silence before revelation, both commanders held their breath, aware that a single misstep could plunge the fragile standoff into open conflict or unlock a discovery beyond all expectation. As data streams flickered and alarms hummed, an unspoken question lingered: who or what truly guided events on the edge of Planet X's hidden realm? And somewhere between those worlds, the silent vessel drifted onward, its secrets poised to emerge. End of Chapter 1.